As 2K17 comes to a close, we have the much anticipated wait until 2K18 comes out. Today I want to take a look at the top rated players on 2K17 and predict their rating based on how their season went for 2K18. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please drop a like if you do. Let me know down in the comments who you think I got right, who you think I got wrong. Give me your opinion, give me your list. Let's get right into this. So when it comes to ratings in 2K, there's 3 phases to every year. The first phase is when the game just comes out, the rating that they have at the launch date based on the prior season that they just had. Then as the season goes on, obviously the ratings get updated and a lot of players get a boost. Obviously some players get knocked down, but there's times players go up, 6, 8, even 10 overall throughout the season. And lastly, they have the rating that they will have for the new game. It does take into account the boost they had throughout the year, depending on how well they played, but it is certainly much more realistic. Just because a player had a great last month to the season in the game, they might have got a +4 rating at the time, but then for the next game, it kind of gets brought back to reality a bit, even though it does consider, obviously, how they played and how well they did. So we got to keep that into consideration when we're rating the players for 2K18, but let's get into it. First off, we have the chosen one, the king, yes, LeBron James. The 2K17 launch rating for him was a 96, and coming off a season where he yet again led the Cavaliers to the NBA Finals, although he did come up short against a better Golden State Warriors team. He had a fantastic season, 26 points on almost 55% shooting, averaging almost 9 rebounds and 9 assists. I believe for 2K18, he will hold that 96 rating as he did this year as the best player in the game. Next up, we have Mr. Triple-Double, the NBA MVP, Russell Westbrook, the man who averaged a triple-double this season and led the NBA in scoring. At the 2K17 launch, he was a 93 overall. I believe he's going to get a +1 overall boost to him, and he will be a 94 rated point guard in 2K18. The Beard. Many people had him as the MVP of the league, averaging 29 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. First team All-NBA this season. He came into 2K17 with a 90 rated card or player, however you want to call it, depending on what game mode you're playing. And I believe for 2K18, he will be boosted 4 overall, up to a 94 rated, just like Russell Westbrook. They both had unbelievable seasons, and I believe he deserves that. Kawhi Leonard started 2K17 with the 93 overall card, had a very good season, 25 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Of course, probably one, if not 2, of the best defensive players in the game, along with Draymond Green. I believe he will get a +1 overall boost and go up to a 94 overall for 2K18. Fresh off a championship, despite popular belief, Steph Curry had another incredible year. 25 points per game on almost 47% shooting, 41% from 3, 6 assists, almost 5 rebounds. The guy had an incredible season despite the popular narrative that he didn't play that well this year. Although, yes, this doesn't compare to his last season where it was one of the greatest single seasons in NBA history where he captured the MVP. He still had a very good season. That being said, I think he will be dropped down to a 93 overall. He started 2K17 launch with a 94, and yes, I think he will get a -1 overall and drop down to a 93, which is still one of the best players in the game and in the world. The NBA Finals MVP, Kevin Durant, joined the Warriors, got a lot of hate for it, got the job done, captured the championship, won Finals MVP, averaging 25 points a game on the season, on almost 54% shooting, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, almost 2 blocks per game. The man had a great season. He had, at the 2K17 launch, he was a 93 overall. I think he's going to get a +2 overall and be a 95 overall player, the second highest rated player in 2K18. Anthony Davis finally had a year where he stayed healthy almost the entire season, and what a season it was. 28 points per game on 50% shooting, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks per game. Anthony Davis, 2K17 launch with a 90 overall. I think he's going to get a +1 overall and be 91 rated for 2K18. Paul George of the Indiana Pacers, now the Oklahoma City Thunder. That'll be interesting. At the 2K17 launch was an 89 overall, coming off a year averaging 24 points per game, taking his team to the playoffs and losing to LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think he's going to actually be downgraded by one due to the fact that in the playoffs he really didn't do much, and I think that holds some weight in the 2K rating system. And although he did have a decent season statistically and in the playoffs, his statistics were okay. He couldn't even get one game off of LeBron and the Cavs, so I think it's going to cost him a little bit in his rating. Plus, joining a new team, who knows how that'll work out. I think we're going to see him at an 88 overall. Chris Paul, another player joining a new team, going to the Houston Rockets. It'll be interesting to see how it works out. At the launch date this year, Chris Paul was a 91 overall. You see on the screen at the final roster, he was 91 overall. So I think at 2K18, he's going to stay 91 overall. One of the best point guards in the world, Chris Paul, 91 rated, 2K18. Boogie Cousins, 2K17 launch was a 90 overall. He had a great season, whether he was with the Pelicans or the Kings. Statistically, he gets buckets, he gets boards, he does what he has to do. I think he holds his rating at a 90 overall. I don't think he goes anywhere. Best center in the world, DeMarcus Cousins. John Wall, 23 points, 11 assists, 2 steals. Great season for John Wall. Led the Wizards to the playoffs. Went to a Game 7 against the Boston Celtics and came up a little bit short. At the 2K17 launch day, he was an 88. I think he's going to get a +1 and become an 89 overall in 2K18. The Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. At the 2K17 launch date, he was an 83 overall. We all know the potential that he had with his incredible physical assets, his height, his wingspan, his ball handling ability, and he had a great season for the Bucks. He won Most Improved Player of the Year, averaging almost 23 points per game, 9 rebounds, 5 assists on 52% field goal shooting, almost 2 blocks, 1.5 steals. Incredible season for Giannis. I think he's going to get a +3 rating and be an 86 overall to start 2K18. The little guy, Isaiah Thomas, averaging 29 points per game on 46% field goal shooting and almost 6 assists per game. At the 2K17 launch date, the little guy was an 85 overall. I think he's going to get a +3 rating. He was an MVP candidate all season. He's going to be at 88 in 2K18. Uncle Drew, 2K17 launch date, 89 overall, had a season averaging 25 points per game on 47% field goal shooting and almost 6 assists per game. Again, went to the NBA Finals with the Cleveland Cavaliers, came up a little short against a better Golden State Warriors team. I still think he did enough to get a +1 overall and become a 90 rated point guard for the Cavaliers next season. Jimmy Butler, NBA 2K17 launch, he was an 88 overall, had a solid season with the Chicago Bulls, although they underperformed as a team, one could argue. He averaged 24 points per game on 45.5% field goal percent shooting, almost 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Of course, he's joining the Minnesota Timberwolves. It'll be interesting to see how him, KarlAnthony Towns, the rest of the crew get on together. But that being said, I think his 2K18 rating goes up by 1 and he starts the season off as an 89 overall. Damian Lillard, another great season by the young point guard. 27 points per game on 44% field goal shooting, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. The guy is a pure scorer, man. He can pull from deep, he can get to the basket. At the 2K17 launch, he was 89 overall. I think he got a +1 rating this year coming, and he's going to be a 90 overall point guard. Cat, KarlAnthony Towns, 25 points on 54% shooting, 12 rebounds, 1.3 blocks. Incredible this guy didn't make any of the All-NBA teams. At the 2K17 launch, he was an 88 overall. I think he did enough to get a +2 boost and be a 90 overall center in 2K18. Marc Gasol, brother of Pau Gasol, known as one of the best centers in the world, especially defensively, but his offensive skills are numerous. 19.5 points per game, 6 rebounds, almost 5 assists, 1.3 blocks. Another solid season for Marc Gasol. Started 2K17 as an 85, you see on the screen. He went all the way up to an 89 this year in game. I think he's going to get a +1 overall boost and start the season off as an 86 in 2K18. DeMar DeRozan of the Toronto Raptors averaged 27 a game this season and 5 rebounds. Great season for DeMar DeRozan. He started 2K17 off as an 87. He went up to an 89 in 2K17. I believe he'll get a +1 boost and be an 88 overall shooting guard for the Toronto Raptors in 2K18. Speaking of Raptors, Kyle Lowry, plagued with injury a little bit this season and into the playoffs. He started 2K17 as an 86 overall. He had a solid season with 22 points per game and 7 assists. I still think his rating is going to drop by 1 and he will drop down to an 85 overall in 2K18. Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, first team All-NBA defense this season, started 2K17 off as an 81 overall. You see in this game he went all the way up to an 88 overall center. I think next year he will get a +2 boost to his overall to start the game and be an 83 overall, an absolute stud on the defensive end. Gordon Hayward of the Utah Jazz, now of the Boston Celtics, had a great season averaging 22 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Somewhat of a breakout year for Gordon Hayward. His 2K17 launch date rating was an 84 overall. I think he did enough to go up to an 86 to start 2K18. Another Clipper makes the list, Blake Griffin. Started the year off as an 87. You see he got up to an 88. He had a solid season but was plagued by injury, especially come playoff time. I think his rating actually goes down by 2. I think a lot of opinions are changing on Blake Griffin and he's not as highly ranked amongst NBA players anymore. So start the year, Blake Griffin, 85 overall. The other member of the Splash Brothers, Klay Thompson, started this NBA 2K17 off as a 90 overall. Despite popular belief, just like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson had a good year. His points per game actually was higher this year than it was last year, believe it or not. He shot 47% from the field, 41% from 3. Played great defense, especially we saw in the NBA Finals. Guy is a great two-way player. Although he did have a good year, I still think his rating goes down by 1, and he starts the year off as an 89 overall for the Golden State Warriors. Nikola Jokic, NBA 2K17 launch date rating 79. You see in-game this year, he went all the way up to an 88 overall. Too bad he got injured in the playoffs. Who knows what the Nuggets could have done. This guy averaged 17 points and 10 rebounds for the season. A good breakout season for Nikola Jokic. I think next year he will get a +4 overall to start the season and start the 2K18 game off with an 83 overall rating. Last but not least, your Defensive Player of the Year, Draymond Green, started this year off at a 90 overall in 2K17. The man averaged 10 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and 1.5 blocks per game this season, capturing Defensive Player of the Year and another NBA title with the Golden State Warriors. Despite having a solid season, I think his lack of statistical production will result in a -2 overall, and Draymond will start the year at an 88 overall next season in 2K18. That's my list. What's your list? Let me know down in the comments below. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed this prediction video for 2K18. I hope you did. It's been that boy. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.